Okay, so good night, everyone, or good evening. We're gonna be starting soon. So for all my viewers over on the YouTube stream, we're gonna be starting about 6:10. And remember, you can share the link to your friends. Tell them to join on the Zoom. We're gonna be having an amazing night tonight. So definitely, we're gonna be starting soon. So just bear with us for a moment, all right? Start now. So I just want to give a big shout out to everyone that's here in the participants list, as well as those that are here with us on YouTube. Okay, so let me just see if I can get my camera up and running. Hoping you guys can see and hear me. So, Kendra, you here?
Yes, I'm here. I never left. So welcome everyone. I'm so
Okay,
glad that
great,
you
great.
guys could show up and show out and be here.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so we're gonna be looking to
All
start,
about
and we got.
personal development.
Are you hearing me, Kendra?
I'm hearing you.
Oh, sorry. It sounded as if your your internet was giving some problems a while ago. All right, so I'm just checking.
Oh,
All right, so I think we're all good here. So definitely, guys, as Kendra was saying, we have a beautiful lineup of speakers and an engaging evening for you guys tonight on all about personal development, right? I don't know about you, but I think that this is definitely an important topic to be explored. Something that we definitely cannot ignore. Not just coming from the committee's law committee, because they've been doing a lot since September, but also as UA students overall, right? So I think I'll allow my lovely co-host to go ahead and introduce herself, and then I'll
okay.
introduce myself.
Okay. So hi everyone. My name is Keandra Wellington and I'm the Deputy Faculty Representative for the Law Commuting Students Committee. Now I'm going to pass it on to my mentor, Justin Edwards, to introduce himself. Yes.
All right. Yes. So as she said, I am her mentor. Lovely thing for me, to be honest, because she's definitely an amazing youth leader and advocate in the making. All right. So enough about all
Okay.
that. So my name is Justin Edwards, and I am the commuting student representative for the UA Mona Guild for this academic year. It's a pleasure to be here, not just as the commuters representative, but also as a law student. Because I definitely before I started a lot of my leadership with commuters, law was where it started for me, right? So I definitely can't forget this portfolio because I also served as the law commuters representative last year, right? So Kendra, tell me something. I mean, I've been hearing a lot of buzz about this event and that kind of thing, but what would you say is the most interesting thing about this? Something that people definitely want to look out for, from your perspective.
I just feel like the entirety of the event is all about bettering yourself, all about, as it says in the theme, becoming a better you. So if you're interested in learning about investing, if you're interested in learning about building a brand and bettering your brand, you can come, you can listen to these speakers, the established speakers who have worked hard to get where they are today and listen to them talk about how they made their way to where they are and just take some tips from them. And if you really want to better yourself, if you really want to, develop yourself more, then you come on and you log on and you come and you enjoy and just learn
All
about
right.
bettering your brand and become a better you.
Perfect, perfect. So it's about 6:50 now. So we want to get going or get the ball rolling with our first speaker. So yes, definitely big up all the people on YouTube. Let me just check the stream real quick so I can see how many persons we have. We have six concurrent viewers right now. Love that, guys. So remember to share the link with all of your friends, right? We don't want anyone to miss out on this session. All right. So we're gonna be heading straight into our first speaker. Keandra, would you like to do the honors of just kind of presenting our first speaker?
All right, one moment. All right, so our first speaker is Miss Shellyan Morgan. She is a manager at Sagicor Investments Jamaica Limited. Now Shellyan has been with Sagicor family since 2007, where she started as a senior investment advisor with Pan Caribbean Financial Services, now Sagicor Investments Jamaica Limited. She has over 10 years experience in the financial services industry, and since 2018, she has led the investment client services team for the Kingston metropolitan area, where she oversees the branch sales and operations across the branch network for the region. Now, Shellyan is the recipient of an MBA from Florida International University and a BBA from the University of Technology. A past student, alumni member, and a current director of the Myrtle Grove High School Board, Shellyan is also the president of the Jamaica chapter of the Myrtle Grove High School Past Students Association. She's committed to volunteerism through activities at the Sagicor Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you this phenomenal woman, Shellyan Morgan. It's lovely having you. How are you today?
Great, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, and all that just going to my head. Phenomenal, you know. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation. I am very happy to be a part of your forum. It looks very interesting, and I do hope after I present that I'll be able to also listen in and share, and I'm always open to learning. So, oh, I need to share my screen. To your very interesting topic, Investing 101. Justin, did you give me?
Yes, I gave you co-host privileges, so you should be able to share. Just see if it's working for you. Okay, perfect. We can see it. Yeah.
All right, Investor 101. And ladies and gentlemen, law students and other invited guests, we are going to have a conversation. That means I'm going to engage you. So what do you think investing is? What is investing? Do we have anybody? Kendra, just I'm not sure who'll be monitoring your chat if they don't speak up and they opt to text instead. But folks,
don't worry, we'll be watching the chat, and I'm also going to be checking on YouTube to see if anyone is giving some feedback.
Anybody? What is investing? No wrong answers here. All right, we're not getting an answer as yet. So Investopedia says it is the act of allocating resources, usually money, with the expectation of generating an income or profit, right? Most persons tend to think that investments only is limited to money, but there's also real estate that persons can invest in. I mean, anything that will give you an income or a profit, that's investing. And as we get older and the world changes, we will always see lots of new investment options coming on in new markets. All right, so that's my interpretation here. If you have any, please share. Now I have this very nice picture that I like on the screen. It's a little funny, but it really is very deep. And this is really at the heart of investment and investing. So you need to choose, right? If you're a good investor or if you're a bad investor, because it tells you here that is either you have your money at work and you see the man in his top hat and he's on the fork and he's having fun, or are you the man at work? One of the questions that you asked me to prepare on, what are the benefits of investing? And right away here, I think it captions it. Here he has, you see, there's money growing in the field. Are you seeing it, Kendra? No? There is money growing in the field, all right? So money at work, you're always having money working for you. At sleep, when you're tired, it's always there. So here, I have 4 main segments about the benefits of investing. And some of them are obvious ones, but I thought to put them there nonetheless because I didn't want to leave anything out. The benefits of investment can be you want to attain your financial goals or any big ticket item, or to have tax savings or to save for retirement. So let's look on some of the financial goals that I had here. And people, remember, if you can think of any, please. We're a community, and I have found where sometimes I might not be thinking of something that's very obvious, but you a different reality, different perspective, you will have something there. So on the financial goals, I had some big ticket items, like one of the benefits of investing for most people is saving for their children college education. So here we are in a forum where we have mostly college students. Is there anybody here who would have benefited or heard their parents, mother, father, that they're saving money for your college education or your law degree? Anybody? You can share. A lot of persons dream of becoming an entrepreneur. And even when you go to banks and banks are willing to lend you money to give you a line of credit, you must demonstrate that you are invested in this. So you must have some sort of startup capital. You must have, and the more capital you have, which is there, I mean just money to start the business, the easier it is for you, the less dependence you will have on the bank or the lending institution, and you'll be able to do much more initially or when you first started up. On the more pleasurable side, a lot of persons, we dream of having a big house. We dream of a dream house. We want to live on the hill, or you want to retire or reside in the cool hills of Mandeville, or you want to go to Irish Town. Persons want to come out of the city. You don't mind working, but you want to reside in somewhere where it is calm and cool and quiet. So one of the benefits of investing is to save up, so you can either have a deposit for your dream house, or you can buy your house cash, or you can do a home expansion. You can acquire a second home. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if it is that you can think of any other benefit of investing, share with me. Share in the chat, you can always speak out. See if you have some more examples. You can return to school. I remember when I was thinking of going back to school to do my second degree, and I have been saving up, and I was saying, I have this money saved up, and I was tinkering about going back to school. So I said, I have this money. It is either for a house deposit or to go back to school to do my master's. So those kinds of decisions, and most persons, you may find that parents may trying to put it nicely, may support you for a first degree, but they may not support you for a second degree. All right. The longer you save, the better it is. The more money you have accumulated, and longer for me is 10 or more years. All right. So how much funds are you saving? And you find that the more educated that we become, as we finish school, we start saving, because you know that this is what helps investments. It helps to just break that generation gap of poverty, right? Another benefit is tax savings. Most persons don't think of this, but I always tell my clients, any legitimate way where you can avoid or reduce paying taxes, you should. And when you invest, you have opportunities for tax exemptions or tax advantages. There are some investments like on equity investments or even on unit trusts where you are able to either pay no taxes. And remember, withholding tax by law in Jamaica is 25% of any interest income earned. So if you earned $1, that's 25 cents. And normally tax is taken out first, all right? And then you have tax advantages. There are some investments where tax is not taken out at source. So it's not taken out while you have the investment there, but it may be taken out when you come to do a withdrawal. Suppose you don't do a withdrawal for 5 years or for 3 years. So you would be benefited from tax deferment there. And then you also have investments that are there for 5 years or more, and they are tax-free. And that's great, isn't it? If you can earn and not have to pay taxes legally. Now, a lot of persons, especially persons who are in their mid-40s, 50s, they tend to be a little bit more sensitive and pay more attention to retirement. It is a big deal. We are living longer. We have better vaccines, right? Better healthcare systems. So once you retire, and it used to be 60 for some persons, well, much of the law has been passed completely because it's still optional, where they were extending where they were extending retirement to 65, you find that at that point in time, whatever it is that you're earning, you right away, once you become pensionable, lose a portion of that income, right? So when you are able to invest, you need to have something that will supplement your pension. Pension is normally lower. And you, if you watch the news or if you have parents, friends of parents, family friends, they will speak about how hard it is. And on the news, you hear pensioners, it is rough because they can't afford for their medical bills. They can't afford to cover their basic expenses. They have to reduce their expenses. So saving allows you to have early retirement for those of us who are fortunate, or to be able to retire happily. Now, I put there about compound interest because the thing about investment is that whatever you save, whatever interest you earn, there is this tool called compound interest where you earn interest upon interest. It's a snowball. So if you can figure a snowball, and the more it goes, the faster it goes, it gets momentum and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. And that's just how compound interest works. So interest goes back on the principal, which is the initial investment. And then on top of that, interest, and it continues and continues. And the more you put on that, the longer you have on it, you get a nice big fat retirement. Okay, are you with me so far? And then
yes, ma'am, definitely.
Good. And then we have another benefit, another big one. And I had here wealth. And for most persons, they say health is wealth, right? And then this has on happiness and success. So investing allows you to have wealth creation. It allows you to have wealth. It allows you to be more financially stable, right? Simply because you have an additional source of income. And that slide that we had before, your money is always working for you. It allows you to stay ahead of inflation. They speak about inflation as a monster because inflation eats into whatever it is that you are saving. It eats into our spending power. So if inflation is at 4%, if you are 4.5 or earning at 5%, you are ahead of inflation by 1% there or 1.5%. So the idea is whatever earnings that you are getting on your investment, you want it to be ahead of inflation because that is where you have the real savings or the real earnings. The dream vacation, and I mean, I'm always thinking about it. You want to have that dream vacation. I mean, when you work and you're tired, or like some person speak about a gap year after you'd have finished college, right? How are you going to afford it? And then you want to go on it and then not really run up into any form of debt. I mean, like either after or before, right? So how do you really afford it? This is how the investment, the investing. So the more you save at an earlier age, the longer you keep it, all these things are possible. And it's a time is money, and it really is. So that dream vacation, and I put job loss there. And it is very timely, right? It's a conversation that we need to have more and more. And because of this pandemic and the world being in a recession, a lot of us for the very first time might never have experienced something like this, right? I mean, I don't know how many of you are part-time employed, but you might have been affected, right? Or your parents, or persons who have been affected. And we see them on the news and in the paper. Families have been disrupted and torn apart because of COVID, which is because of a job loss for some people. So it's very important for us to invest. And we take it for granted about having a job, but when you do have that job, you have to save. And we encourage persons, once they're earning, that you have at least 6 months to a year saved up. And most persons think that it's a lot, 6 months to a year, if you think, and maybe it is, right, initially, but put it in the perspective, what if you didn't have a job, right? What if you didn't have a job? So you need to have everything you enjoy now because of these earnings will not be available to you. So you want to be able to maximize, or for as long as you possibly can, to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So one of the benefits of investing, we also want to be able to earn at a high interest rate. Some persons tend to have savings accounts. That's your first saving. That's your first form of saving. Nothing is wrong with that. The thing though is that savings accounts or savings are supposed to be short term or near term. And that's why you have a debit card on it, or that's why you can transfer, you have access to it anytime, 24 hours a day, because it's near term. So if you're really invested, it's supposed to be medium to long term, you can't have a savings account only or at all. You have to have an investment account. So that's one of the benefits of investment, to earn high interest rates on investment versus a savings account. All right. I haven't heard anybody say anything else yet, and I'm in with the law commuting students and their guests. Right? So come on, people. Like I said, we're having a conversation and I want it to be interactive. If you don't want to speak verbally, just type it in the chat. I'm trying to, okay. All right. So we speak about.
We also have a question for you, Miss Morgan. And it starts like, when did you get? Are you hearing me, Miss Morgan?
I didn't hear. I just heard. When did you get?
Oh, okay, great. I was asking, when did you first start developing such an interest in investing?
So I'm going to tell you a story, which I'm not necessarily very proud of, but I've always been interested in money. And, sometimes you think about destiny, and I remember way back in the day, I used to always see these conductors with lots of money on their hand, right? And all I thought about was, why they have so much money? And I remember it came back to me. So it didn't start like that. And most things, unless you are very structured or very disciplined, right, and very focused, it doesn't start like that. But they say that we can't determine how we start, but certainly how you finish. So it was, I was a commercial banking firstly, and I thought commercial banking was just a lot more people, a lot more everything. So investment banking is more specialized. So that's why I switched to investment banking. All right. Thank you for the question. So,
continue.
And we are here, how to get started. Now, I know most people always tend, I don't have any money. It's a lot of money to get started, and it is a myth. And I'm going to put it out right now. If nothing else, remember that it is a myth, and you don't need a lot of money to start. Of course, there are different levels of investment, but a college student like yourself, someone who has just finished university, who is on their first paycheck, you definitely can invest, right? Now, some of the simple ways of how to get started, and I'm here thinking of the money part. Simply, you can start, let's say, with the cookie jar approach, or with the piggy bank approach. It is so basic and so simple. And we, in every household at some point in time, we had a piggy bank, right? Most times when somebody has, you are married, you are pregnant, persons always are contributing towards your future. And sometimes we just eat it there and then. Eat it means they consume it here. They are not putting it away for future use. So like I said, the piggy bank, the shoebox, not recommending it, but under the mattress, because persons still do under the mattress, right? Into your savings account, and then you just consolidate. You start putting it one by one, and it works. One of the things though, that it's about habit. It really is about habit, and you have to be prepared to give up something to get more later on, right? So you have to ban your belly in the short run or now to get more later. No, so sacrifices. If you can't find a lump sum, and that's fine, right? I mean, at Sagicor, we have investments starting as low as $500 and US $50. Now, the key to that really is to give up something I mentioned. And you can mention, you can add. So I was thinking, like, we probably need to think about giving up on some of the things that we really love to do. Like, you can share with me designer stuff. We love, a lot of us, we love designer and name brand stuff. We like designer wear, we like shoes, designer phones, I mean cars, bags, glasses, sneakers. Um, those are some of the things that you really have to think about, the habits that we have. Do you really need those things? Okay, so you need a shoe. Does it have to be a designer shoe? And I'm not only speaking about females here, gentlemen. All right. We need to consider about the impulsive shopping. I mean, even for things like food, and food is so expensive. If you can start by saving some money, I mean, on your grocery bill, on your light bill, do you know how much money you would have saved? So shop for things that are necessary, like food. Maybe we need to consider eating out less and dining more at home. Or if not that, then you want to be preparing your meals. So some persons, we tend to go to, tell me some place that you go to eat breakfast. We tend to go to, persons go to Cannonball. They go to Burger King. They eat out. Give me some of the more nicer places that you go to eat. Right?
I'm not gonna lie, Miss Morgan, but I think you're stepping on a few toes with that one.
With mine, Starbucks, right? Where do we eat? And I mean, we make better meals at home anyway. And I'm not saying don't go out and eat. Maybe we need to do it less, right? Maybe it is that we need to come out earlier and take, probably, like, if you take public transportation, come out earlier to get comfortable in a comfortable bus before it's COVID. And so taking like chartered taxis then, or we carpool together. We spend gas money together. We do stuff like that. So how is it? And I'm saying here how to get started by saving. And it's not a mammoth task, believe it or not, right? How can you find those dollars to get started? Remember what we want to invest for, that was on the second slide. All right. So you can set up small monthly transfers from an account, maybe your savings account. If you have part-time money that you earn, or if you are given an allowance, or if you have, I mean, any form of grants or leftover money that you have, maybe these monies can be put towards some form of savings, right? Think about the fees that you're paying. Some people pay fees to get stuff done that they could have done for themselves, right? What it is that you are doing now that you could do less of. If you're tied to the NHT refund, maybe you shouldn't be eating that NHT refund, but then you should be investing it. Did you win any money? Those money that you have as winnings that you earned, any unexpected money that you have come into, those monies can be used to get started. Remember I said, $500 or US 50. I mean, but let's look at our hair. Men, how much do you take to do get a trim and shave? Maybe you go every week, and you should be going probably every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I don't know. I'm just doing that there. Ask for a gift certificate instead of a gift. Ask for a stock certificate. I remember when I was in my master's, and like I said, I thought I had enough money. Listen to me. When I was paying my school fee, I started, when they asked what I want, okay, I wanted US, so my school fee was in US. So I was very much asking for US. Can I get, I'll take US. So then I had categories of persons, very good coming on, family going, I had tiers, $500, $200, $100. People ask, what was your birthday? I took a car payment, those are the things that I was asking for. I used to shop out of my mother's cupboards for food. I stopped buying food till she just started buying food for me. Stuff like that. I'm not going anywhere. Is it free? Those are my questions I'm asking. Is it free? Are you picking me up? I'm not driving. So I'm saving on my thing because I have my thing planned out. So we really need to take stock of it because it's not so far-fetched as we thought. It's very doable. And even on a stipend or on lunch money, I mean, as students, you can start. All right. So, I mean, we have phone bills, we have phone cards. Maybe we need to talk less. Use the plans more. Use free Wi-Fi. Like I said, spend less on lunch pad, and take your breakfast, take your lunch to work. Funny enough, you know that in the office, I mean, like persons who work, most persons tend to take their lunches. And I'm in New Kingston because to leave the office most times to go out, I mean, we're not driving in New Kingston, we are walking everywhere because it is so much traffic. And then to go in, sometimes to go in to join the line to get lunch. I mean, not like now where it's COVID, but to join the line to get lunch and then to eat. Most times you're just on the go, so you don't have it. So most persons, they prepare their lunches, and most offices, they have microwaves and their tables, persons eat. So you'd be surprised the options that are there and things that you might not think is food, which really are. So that was just some of my tips on how to get started. I'm not sure if there were any other suggestions from persons that you can share, I mean, your peers, about how it is that you can get started, you can find money to start investing.
Not sure if you can hear me, Miss Morgan. So we have a question here from the YouTube, right? So Tana Gibbs is asking, what do we do with the money saved? What feasible options are there for us as students to invest in? Now, I have a feeling that you're gonna touch on this, but yeah, just so you know that they're interested in hearing that specifically, okay?
Thank you very much. Definitely. So the how to get started, and I have some options, just a few that I think my screen is frozen. Just a few that I have, and it's a video.
Okay, so we're not able to hear the audio from the video. So what you'll probably have to do is restart the sharing of the PowerPoint and click the option to allow system sound so that we can then hear.
I'm sorry, go again, please.
So I was saying that you probably can hear the audio from the video, but we
I
can't
can.
hear it from our end. So restart the sharing and admit or allow, check the little
So
checkbox that
stop
says
share.
allow system sound. Yeah,
So
so
I
stop
should
the
click on
share.
stop share
Yeah, so
and
you're gonna
then
start it again,
share
start it
screen.
again. Yeah, but don't enable it yet. When the little window comes up that tells you to choose what screen to share, just
Right.
check the little checkbox that says share system sound.
Okay, I'm seeing it. Thank you.
All right, great.
Okay, let's go.
Equities, also known as stocks, is a financial instrument used by the company to raise funds through the public on the Jamaica Stock Exchange market for their business operations. These companies will use that funds from the public as to run their business to gain a profit. What this means for investors is that 1, you will have shares in this company. 2, if this company makes a profit, you're entitled to dividend payments depending on the board's decision. 3, the value of your shares will also increase in price dependent on the company's performance. You may ask what a dividend is. A dividend is a percentage of the profits the company may decide to pay out to the shareholders. To get started, visit any Sagicor Investments location or give us a call. What are you waiting on?
Okay, so that is one option. And I chose that as an option because, believe it or not, it is very easy to start saving using stockbrokerage as an option. You might be aware that a lot of companies tend to go to the stock market to ask for help with capital, and that's just they pretty much are borrowing your money. And you choose, excuse me 1 second. And you choose to invest, right? By sharing, by investing in your company, pretty much you're saying that, I have confidence in you, in the persons who are managing the company. the product, the industry, and you want to share in the company's profit or loss. That in a nutshell is what stocks are or what is. However, it's not the most conservative investment, right? Let's go there. Investments do come with risk, and this is a very high risk investment. However, you are able to protect yourself, right, by holding the stocks for a longer period and just being advised, getting advice from a stock advisor or your financial advisor. This is just one option, and you are able to pretty much buy stocks in a company, any company listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, or that is, if you wanted to go on the New York Stock Exchange, Sagicor can also help you, or on the London Stock Exchange, we are able to also help you. All right. So here I put online is cheaper because again, so that there are options for you. So you pay a fee whenever you buy or sell. And here, if you choose to go online, you pay 0.5% versus you'll be paying 2% for commission. All right. So I hope that the person who was reading my mind or was making a presentation is now able to see that's one option. Let's go to one more as to how you get started on your financial journey. Do I need to do the same thing again with this one, Justin, or will it play?
No, you don't need to. It's already enabled, so you can go ahead.
So unit trusts or mutual funds, it is a collective or pooled investment scheme that allows persons to pool their funds together, and these funds are managed on the behalf of them by a fund manager or an institution. Essentially, this is a means or a ways of investing indirectly in assets that you may not be able to afford on your own. The unit trust is actually for everyone, the everyday man. If it is that you want to get quicker returns over a shorter period, that may necessarily mean that you have to go to a more aggressive spectrum of the risk tolerance scale. If you want to get consistent income, but you want to preserve what you have, then you might be on the lower scale of the risk tolerance spectrum. Essentially, based on the suites of products that Sagicor Investments offer, we can find a Sigma fund that will suit your need and will suit your portfolio.
Okay. So this is the second option that I prepared for you. Again, very affordable. Remember I said that there's a myth that you need to have large sums to invest. The fund that Michael just spoke about is the unit trust, and Sagicor is the largest unit trust provider in Jamaica. We have 18 funds under management. We have US and we have Jamaican. We have high risk and we have low risk. We have middle risk too. And you are able with 500 Jamaican dollars or with US 50 to participate in a fund like this. And the returns are great, right? So what he mentioned about being in a pool of investments, so whether you have 500 or 500 million, whatever the fund pays, you will earn the same rate of return, okay? It's just that if you have less, you're not going, if you were to earn 20%, 20% on $500 won't be a lot. 20% on 500 million will be more. But guess what? You are earning the same interest rate. Unlike other investments where the rates are normally tiered, that means that the more money you have, the higher interest rate that you will benefit from, and vice versa. All right, Chrisanne, are you okay? How do you get started to have a stock brokerage account or to open a Sigma account? It's very simple. Most persons tell me, oh, it's so hard. And I said, you even tried, did you check it out? It's so easy. You could call on the phone, find out what are the requirements to get started on an investment account, and find that in your purse, you might have everything. So look at what you will need. You will need something to identify, Keandra, who are you? Whatever it is that you're giving me, I should be able to verify, okay? So I'm Keandra Wellington. What can you give me to prove that you are Keandra Wellington? What we'll accept is a government-issued ID, passport, voter's ID, driver's license. And Justin says he lives at 5X Avenue, Kingston 10. Justine, can you please prove that you actually live there, right? And that's what we're asking for. And then we ask, can you please, we don't know you so well and we want to get to know you. So can you have someone introduce you to us who knows better than what we do? 1 second, please. So, hello? I'm sorry, I need 10 minutes. I'm trying to finish my presentation. Okay, go ahead, please. Thanks. Right, sorry, thanks. That was my son. I'm in trouble. All right, so we ask that you have someone who knows you better than we do to introduce you to us. So you will need to let us have a reference, a character reference. It doesn't have to be physical, right? It can simply be, you give me the name, the address, and the telephone number of someone, and the categories that we will accept is a JP, Justice of the Peace, your employer if you're employed, a marriage officer. And we have marriage officer there because marriage officer is non-denominational. So you have marriage officers in every denomination, right? A school principal, a medical provider. I mean, you're on campus, you have lots of JPs. Someone who has had an account with Sagicor for 2 years or more. Sound simple so far? It really is. Very important because money laundering, we have to know where is this money coming from? And earlier we mentioned different ways that you can come up with that initial investment. So you should be able to prove, like everything else, how you came about this money. I mean, most persons, they would have earned it some way. So I have your tax return, you would have a receipt, you'd have something, your bank statements, if you're employed, your payslip, a job letter. If it's a gift, it should be a gift item, it must be substantiated, right? If it's from your parents, then they will be able to give us something to verify their earnings, and that's it. Just that. It's not very hard. So like I'm saying, in your bag, I mean, or from your smartphone, you can give me everything here and you can get started. So that's me on Investing 101. I do hope I try to make it very simple so that you will have no more myths, you will have no more superstitious, you will have no more thoughts. Somebody tell you this or that. This is it exactly what you will need. What is in my brochures or online, I just gave it to you in 13 slides. So thank you very much. Are there any more questions? Any more comments? Suggestions?
What currently would you say is the best market to invest in? The
What was
best
the question
companies.
again?
What
The best
currently you say
company?
is the best companies to invest in?
So I'm going to say best is relative because you find that most companies, so there's an advantage to everything, right? And it comes back to self, what your objective is, okay? So for me, at this point in time, most of the financial markets are down. We're in a recession. Nothing much is happening. The companies that are doing very well now are the food companies, right? Grace is doing well. I mean, Fontana posted some great results because of Christmas shopping there. But we expect the manufacturing industry to be the industry that is going to be coming out of recession or be doing very well first. So we're looking more towards the manufacturing and distribution industry to do well. Ordinarily though, all things being equal, the better performing stocks or companies normally are the financial companies, right? And there are some, can I say some brand names, some companies that always do well. So, I mean, not my favorite company because I don't support smoking, but like Carreras, they always do well. Panjam, they always do well. So you want to look at companies that have a high demand, companies that have longevity. So you want to look at the products or service that they offer, right? To see what is the shelf life that they will have. The longer, the stronger they have, the higher demand, good for you. Those should be good too. So, I mean, like me, I buy a lot of stocks, and pretty much I am saving for my son's college education. So I buy a lot of stocks and I buy them in his name because I want when his time comes, he'll be able to go off to college. So I buy I remember buying even a stock Honeybun just because he always wanted me to buy Honeybun. I'm saying, why he loves honey bun so. But I mean, those things, it's taste, it's demand, right? So if there's anything that is in demand, think about it. The price when demand is high, I mean, it's just the same thing. It's economics. There's scarcity. There are more persons chasing after it, so it goes up. Housing, like construction, is still in demand. We have lots of demand for housing and affordable housing. And although the government says housing, they have affordable housing, the fact is affordable still gets going higher, right? So I mean, cement company is doing very well and continues to do well. And there are other stocks. There are stocks that I call penny stocks, which they're very cheap. Some of them now are in cents. They would have fallen off. So pretty much in my just laid back language, there is like a stock sale going on because a lot of companies, a lot of stocks would have lost value by up to about 20%, 30%. So if you were to get into the market now, you're getting prices that were like about 3 years ago prices or 2 years ago prices. So I always buy like the Friday paper and the Sunday paper and the Wednesday paper. When you look at the financial gleaner, you'll see those stocks and you can see. I mean, if you watch the news and you look at the business news, you'll hear the stocks that went down, the decliners, you'll see the ones that advanced. And then interesting for me, I always look to see what is happening. So if you hear of expansion plans, there's expansion plan, new location, more storage space. That speaks to capacity. They're looking to expand. I love companies that export because that's US dollars that they're earning, which is very good for them, very good for me, very good for the economy, right? And that's also a bigger and wider market. So I like those companies too. So there are lots of companies. You have companies that are very expensive, $100, $200+, but you do have some deals that you can buy now and you can hold for 5 or 10 years and you'll be good. I didn't speak to it much, but it's always good to be diversified. And that doesn't mean that you have to go to 10 different places. It could be that you are across 2 industries. So it could be like finance or the financial industry and maybe the manufacturing industry or the financial and distribution, something like that. All right, Kendra, thank you very much for that question.
All right, so we have a question here from
Thank you. I
YouTube
have
for
another
you.
question. All right, so you mentioned,
Sorry about that,
sorry,
Kiana.
it's fine.
So we have a question here from YouTube. It's Tina T Forever. She's asking, what about persons who are self-employed but do not operate a registered business? What proof of income do they need to provide?
So unfortunately, I'm sorry, I didn't, what was her name?
I believe it's Tina.
Tina, and she does not operate a registered business?
Well,
No, she's self-employed.
yeah, that's
That's
what
not
the
a problem if you're
question.
self-employed. You have persons who are self-employed who have registered their companies as trading as companies. I had a peanut vendor who actually he was featured, I think, on ER. He sells peanuts on Trafalgar Road, who came in and were able to open his account. He brought in all the receipts of the peanuts that he buys in bulk from, I don't know where he bought them from, and he would have shown where the earnings that he makes, he transfers it into his account. At the time he was banking somewhere else, and he came and he had it registered, I think, at his house. So it's not like we can't. It is a bit harder, right? But we can bank you as long as you can provide us with the information that we ask. However, Tina, it is, and for everybody else, it is always good for you to formalize your investments and your earnings. So once you are earning, however it is, try to make sure you're passing it to a bank account or a savings account so that we can always determine what we call turnovers or we can run averages and make good guesstimates of your income and your expenditure. I hope I answered her question.
Thank you so much. So we're running a bit low on time. So I just wanted to ask one more question before we leave. You spoke of unit trust and you spoke of persons who don't necessarily have the amount to invest as they would like. So what's your advice to those persons in setting certain investment goals? And also, what is the lowest amount somebody can use to invest in a company? Just for the persons who, for example, like students who they don't exactly have the set amount to invest as other persons who are more savvy and who are more improved in life have. So I'm just asking you
So I had said that the unit trust is a very affordable way of getting into investments because of the pool effect. And then the minimums are lower. And I was sharing with you that the minimums at Sagicor for unit trust are Jamaican $500 and US $50. So if we opted to not eat out, to save some money, you know, so some of the examples I made earlier that Justin said was on people's toes, then you can find that money and then you can start. I didn't hear the first part of the question properly, Keandra, so I'm not sure. I don't think I answered the first part of the question.
I spoke of investment goals on persons, for example, students who are unable to afford to invest as largely as they would like. So what kind of goals would you ask them, or tips do you give them to invest in terms of investing themselves and other companies?
I didn't hear.
Sorry. You hear? My apologies. What I was saying was that what are certain tips you would give to students or persons who they don't exactly have the necessary amount to invest? What kind of tips or goals would you suggest to them to set for them?
So I would say to start on whatever you can, that there are search, investigate. We have the internet, we have the telephone that you can use, you have the Gleaner, you have the public communication forums that you can find options that are there for you. Just like how most persons don't know that we have a lot of scholarships available and you search for them, it's the same concept. Search for them. The options are there and they are affordable and you can get started. I mentioned they being very affordable, and the idea, people, start now. No. The sooner you start, the better. I mean, as a youth, you might not have a lot of money, but you should also do not have a lot of expenses, because the older you get, the more expenses you will have. So start now so that you can have that cushion. And I did share with you some of the benefits of investing. So have a goal. Is it to finish college, to go back to school, to live debt free? I don't want a credit card. I want to be able to travel. I mean, whatever you have as a goal, set the goal, and then how are you going to get there? I mentioned the PIJAR approach. If you can't start big, start small. The key to this is starting. And if nothing else, I am hoping that after this, you will just go out there and start. Not everything that we earn, we must eat everything at one time. All right? We need to put some things down for later, for tomorrow, for next week, for next year, for next 5 years. And I don't know, I was listening to Shelley and Fraser Price on Audacity with Yenny, and she was sharing, I remember her, that when she was training, she had one tights, right? And she would wash out her tights, hang it up in the morning, and in the evening she was back in it. So we're not going to have everything now. We're never going to have everything that we want, all right? But like in everything else, you have to know what you want and you have to sacrifice for it. Sacrifice now to have a big payday later.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Ms. Morgan. It was really lovely having you. You spoke on so many topics. You spoke on the benefits of investing and how it aids in saving better for your future. You spoke on saving for your children's education. Lots of us are students, and that's really far ahead for some of us. But still, it's important to consider these things. You spoke of startup capital. You spoke of saving up to target for your dream house. You spoke of code expansion and preparing for school. I feel like these were all good things that you touched on, and I feel like in some way these will help to benefit the students and the participants who are here today. So it was really great having you. We're so grateful that you took the time out of the day to come here and speak to us on investments and the benefits of investing and how to get started. Just thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And remember, people, that if we have an obligation as young students, I mean, we speak about you being the future and you translating into the working world and your contribution. And you would have seen the sacrifices that your parents had to make, right? So the idea is for every generation, you must be better, you must be stronger, you must be more agile, you must be able to pivot. So it's on you now, even if you don't have the money, that you have the know-how. So thank you again. I do hope I was phenomenal in the case that you did understand and that you learned something and there will be a behavior change. All right. And hopefully very soon I will see you in the offices coming to open your accounts or get more information.
All right, all right. I don't know about anyone else, but I also enjoyed the presentation 100%. She said they don't have to start big, you can start small, but the important thing to do is to what? Start. I'm sorry, but for personal development on a whole, apart from just investing and that kind of thing, many times we struggle with the starting, right? But you find that sometimes if we just start, everything else will just fall into place. So thank you again, Miss Morgan, for an excellent presentation. It definitely was phenomenal, right? So we're hoping that you'll stick around with us, as we'll probably be, paneling a little later down. But we're gonna be hearing from our other two speakers as well. But Keandra, how are you feeling so far?
I am feeling really good. I'm interested in hearing the rest of our speakers. I learned a lot from Miss Morgan. If anything I took away from our presentation was that the benefits of budgeting. So now I know that for my next birthday, what I'm going to ask for is for wire transfers. What I'm going to ask for is for checks and so forth in terms of saving towards my investments. So I took a lot from our presentation. I can't wait to hear from the rest of it.
All right, love that, love that. So let me just take the opportunity right now to give a big shout out to Miss Janelle Powell, who is the commuters law representative. So she's the head of the commuters law committee, the organizer, spearhead of this event. Big up to the law committee every time. Trust me, you guys have been doing amazing work. So love that, and also big up to our 9 concurrent viewers, as well as the 73 playbacks so far on YouTube. Love the support from you guys and keep the questions rolling. All right. So without further ado, we're gonna go straight into getting our other two speakers on. Right. So as I told you, we have a great lineup for you guys today. So we're going to be having Mr. Janoy Leith, right, and Mr. Sean Chris Castle. Both, wow, I don't even know what to say. Amazing young men in their fields and in their own rights as both professionals and leaders, right? So we're gonna be hearing from Mr. Leith first. Are you here with us, Mr. Leith?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. So how are you doing tonight, sir?
So far so good. It's pretty warm where I am, but thank God for life, I guess.
All right, love it. So let me just go ahead and remind you guys of the theme that we're ruling under tonight. It is becoming a better you. Hone your skills, market your brand, and invest. So we went through the investment part, great insight from Miss Morgan, and we're gonna be going more into personal development and those things that I'm sure you guys are very, very, very interested in hearing about. So Mr. Leith, for those who would not know you, could you just, kind of introduce yourself so that persons can get a better idea of who you are and, what it is that you're about?
All right, so good evening again. I am Janoy Leith, currently the Vice President of Youth and Engagement on the UA Alumni Association. I currently work at the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority, where I hold the position of Manager of Regulations and Policy. Past student leader as relates to the Guild of Students, where I serve as Guild Treasurer, then Guild Vice President of Properties, and special initiatives. I would call myself a all-rounder in a sense because I was never the one to just stick to one thing. In undergrad, my degree was banking and finance and economics. And currently I'm doing a master's in international public and development management, which is a switch to government. So first I was doing something that is math based and now doing something that is reading based. So I was never the type to stick to one thing. So that's pretty much a synopsis about me.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Leith. So let's just get right to our other panelist for tonight is Mr. Sean Chris Kessler. Are you here with us, Mr. Kessler?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here, Justin.
Okay, great, great. So can you just go ahead and give our viewers a brief introduction, so that they can, get to know you a little bit better?
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Sean Christopher Kessel. Everybody calls me Sean or Sean Chris Kessel because of my social media. I am an attorney at law. I've been an attorney at law for 4 years now, and I practice mainly civil practice, like the civil area of law, which, in a nutshell, to simplify it, is everything that is not criminal practice, right? The only part of criminal practice which I may touch on is what you may know as white collar crime, which is mainly fraud. I just a moment. Yes, I practice. My office is downtown. I am in chambers currently with Tom Tavares Finson, Mr. Donahue Martin, and several other great attorneys at law. While at UWI, I was in several posts, ranging from on hall to the Faculty of Law to the Guild. I was a person who probably renamed the role of Guild. I think no, it's called Guild Student Legal Advisor. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, so that's it. While at UWI itself, at the Faculty of Law, I would have started an event called Open Ear. I was CAC on my own hall for many years, and I also was CAC at the Faculty of Law, and I was Deputy Guild CAC as well. Outside of that, sorry about that, guys, a baby in the background. Outside that, I also do have a marketing company where we do digital media marketing for several public and private entities. And there's a lot more, but that's it for now. Thanks for having me, guys. And, I'm here to share as much as possible.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So, I'm not sure about you guys, but why these two young men definitely, exemplify achievement in all areas of life. Right. I'm very much intrigued to hear their stories and hear their perspectives. Right. Keandra, are you here? Okay, it seems like I might have lost my co-host for a while. All right, so as per the essence of a panel discussion, what we're gonna be doing is seeking to ask a few questions, right, to our panelists so that we can get some insight from them about their journey, what personal development really means to them, and how it is that they were able to get to where they are now, right? And also remember, guys, those that are on YouTube or in the Zoom, you can go ahead and post your questions in the chat, and we're going to be asking them for you. But we do have some questions here that we would have prepared. But my first question, which will go to both panelists, what does personal development mean to you? Not sure which one of you guys want to take it first.
I mean, I can take it first. Personal development to me is pretty much you going out your way to develop yourself in a way where you do reading either materials that are known to you or materials that are outside of your realm of comfort. It's also where it's not only mental, but it can be physical as well. So you have persons who have a New Year's resolution of starting the gym and stuff like that. It can be a part of your personal development where you decide that you want to be healthy and fit. So you take on the gym. Normally it would be for carnival, but COVID and stuff kind of put that out the window. But persons are still in the gym to better themselves. So it's pretty much, to me, in a nutshell, how you as a person see some of your weaknesses and other areas where you can improve and go your way to better yourself.
Yeah, I certainly do echo the sentiments of Janoy. And personally, for me, it's just becoming a better version of yourself at all times and as much as possible and continuously, right?
All right, how can we disagree with that? We also have a question in the comments from a Davian Sterling, who is asking, what do you guys think is the biggest challenge in achieving personal development consistently? And do you manage to overcome this challenge? Need to repeat?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay. Davian Sterling is asking, what is the biggest challenge?
I'm not sure, my
Kendra,
friend.
we're not hearing you. We're not hearing you, Kendra.
My apologies. Just to reiterate, he asked, what is the biggest challenge in achieving personal development consistently? And how you guys manage to overcome this challenge? In your own words, in your opinion.
I think it's just staying motivated is probably one of the hardest parts, and actually setting goals and objectives for yourself. If you don't have a plan about where you're going, then you don't know where you're gonna end up, right? You're just gonna be keep living day to day, kind of in the darkness. So I think that's one of the main challenges.
Yeah, and I feel somewhat the same, where to me the biggest challenge would be mental, because even when you do set some goals, what you have to do is to remember who you are and the goals that you set for yourself and ensure that they are personally attainable. Mind you, I'm not saying that you shouldn't dream big, but at the same time, to reach those big dreams, what you have to do is pretty much develop a ladder. If you know how a ladder is, how you get to the rooftop is getting to reachable steps. Each time along the way, you have reachable steps to get to the roof. You don't just make one step from ground to the roof. So what you have to do is set things so that it's attainable for you. Because if you don't do that, then you might even discourage yourself when you try to do it and you realize, oh, I really can't pull this off, and then it kind of do a domino effect that pretty much gets you to overthink and to pretty much discourage yourself.
In saying that though, isn't that in some way stopping persons from aiming higher than they actually should?
Yeah, but that's exactly what I was saying. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to aim high, but what you have to do is put steps between your present state and where you're aiming to go. So you have to have attainable steps in between those areas, because it's not like you can get up this morning and become a multimillionaire, right? But you have to put steps along the way. Like earlier we had the presentation on investing. You have to invest, you have to start the investments, and you have to put at least $500 down if it's that you can afford this month, because along the way your big dream is to become a multimillionaire. So what you have to do is ensure that you have the steps along the way to become a multimillionaire, because it's not something that will happen overnight. So it's just to set attainable steps for yourself in order to reach that big goal.
Okay, definitely love that insight. So I'm glad that you spoke about, setting steps. So I have a question here, because we all know that when it comes to our development, even setting those goals and that kind of thing, there's certain foundations that are crucial, right? And one of the main ones are, our talents and our skills. So how and when did you identify, this is for both of you, your individual talents and skills that brought you to where you are now? And do you think that they would have played a major role in not just how your professional career has been built now, but how it will propel you into higher heights that you're planning to reach?
All right, I'll hop on that one first. All right, so it's a long question, my friend. So I'm gonna try and break it up. All right. What I will say is that, and to just be quite frank and honest, I always thought about becoming an attorney, right? but it was never something that I said, oh, I have these skills in particular, so that means I must go in this particular direction. Because if you ask anybody who I actually like grew up around and stuff like that, or some of my closer associates, they tell you that one of my first loves is business and marketing. And that is why I still to this day try and keep my feet put in that, because I love to create. I love to be creative. I love to think of ideas and see how I can assist brands to grow and to reach audiences and that can influence people. But what I will also say is that sometimes you'll have certain skills that you'll have them naturally, and over time you will realize that they're actually beneficial. If you really just hone those skills, you can actually use them to achieve particular things. So if I am to look at it, in high school I was always a part of student advocacy groups. I was always advocating on behalf of my colleagues or on behalf of myself. So in high school, I was on many executive committees. I was on the student council exec. I think to the point of vice president, if I remember, so long ago. And that was just always me. I was always the one to speak out. I was always the one to ask, question things why, and say speak on behalf of my peers. I think that is one of the times I said, okay, then I seem to be a bit convincing. And not only that, I was always able to like break problems down and solve issues that wouldn't have necessarily been easily solvable if I took a regular approach to it. And so those are just the kind of things that kind of led me in that direction to become an attorney. And then I realized at one point in life that here's the thing. Let's just take a shot at it, because you need a law degree to become a lawyer, but you don't need a marketing degree to be a marketer or a business person. And that's literally how I broke it down. It was as simple as that for me. I said, let me pursue this law thing. And then the more I did it, is the more I realized that I liked and loved particular areas. And so, long story short, I'm a lawyer to this day, right? In terms of marketing, I already said, I just love to be creative. I love music. I love art. I love branding. I just love those particular things. And so I'm still using those skills and still keeping those skills sharp. And I just use it to make money for me. So I use both my skills, if I want to simplify it like that, or both sets of skills to do what I'm doing nowadays. Right? I also do events, but of course, no events are happening, so that's maybe why I didn't think about to bring it up. Right? So yeah, John.
All right. So for me, I'm trying to remember the whole question, but I think I have a bit of it. What I normally do is try everything, and that is really to pretty much. Can everybody see me now?
Yeah, we can.
All right. So.
Yes, we're seeing you.
All right. So what I normally do is to try everything, and what works for me works. That stems from me being in church, because in church I was very active. So I ended up playing 3 instruments, and then moving from there, I became one of those spokespersons in church. And that caused me now to find out that I have a love for speaking and advocacy. Moving on to high school, I think I share a similar experience as Sean, where I was pretty much a part of student advocacy from grade 7 to 6th form. I was actually the president for my student council right before Justin's brother, because we went to the same school. So right before Justin's brother, I was the president for student council at Calabar High School. And throughout that whole period of time, I would even travel internationally to speak and to do meetings and stuff like that. And over the period of time, I realized I have been developing myself and developing a greater love for speaking, advocacy, and pretty much the intricacies of policy. Now, I love math as well, which actually led me to do my first degree, which is economics and banking and finance. And even with that love, I was still being involved in public speaking, youth advocacy, where I was being a part of the guild, UA Careers Club, stuff like that. And that kind of pushed me towards being now a student in government, because even being a student in economics, when I was doing macroeconomics, it exposed me to a few areas of government like fiscal policies and stuff like that. And I was more interested in those more than the intricacies of econ itself. So I realized, oh, I'm moving towards advocacy, policy writing, and regulations, which is where I am now. And it actually plays a great role in the position that I have at work, because I write policy for a living now. I aid with economic regulations, and it's directly related to what I do in school. So both of them pretty much come hand in hand, where I write policy for a living and I'm pretty much doing a master's degree in policy writing, which is international public and development management.
Love that, guys. I know personally for me, speaking as a fellow student leader and advocate in high school, I was a part of so many clubs. Debate club, I was part of the executive board of my high school. I did French speaking competitions. I tried to participate in as much as possible to help better develop me and to help others as well. But what I realized over time is that disappointment for me, it's somewhat of a major con to my goals. So would you say that disappointment is a major con to goals overall, setting goals for yourself and to achieving your goals?
Yeah, I would say it is, but at the same time, what I would say is to pretty much train yourself or practice to think about disappointments not as being negative, but getting some positivity out of disappointments, in the sense where look where you can learn from where you fall short. So for example, if it's a case where you went for a specific position, like an electoral position, you went for that position and you realize you were unsuccessful, what you could do is pretty much go back and think about, how did I run this race? How could I have done better? Is it a case where I could have reached out to more people, structured my manifesto in such a way where persons are better able to understand and pretty much feel now at home with my manifesto, things like that, asking for second opinions from other persons, and pretty much don't take it as a roadblock, but as a stepping stone, because even disappointments can be stepping stones, because people always say God closed one door to open another one. So that might not be an area for you, but it can be a case where, oh, this one wasn't necessarily yours, but there's another one right around the corner that was made perfectly for you.
Okay, I'm not gonna wait. Miss Sean, would you like to take that one as well?
Yeah, I figured it was about us. Here's my thing. You only have one life to live, my friends. Right? One. Disappointment comes. In fact, I made a tweet, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, and I said it must be so peaceful to not have any ambition. Like life must be so peaceful when you have an ambition. Like you just take what you get, right? You just live, and whatever comes away, and you probably don't have that much stress. And someone close to me responded and said, yeah, but he also heard that regret is exhausting. So he said, let's never find out, right? So and I said, that's very true, because here's the thing about life: if you don't try something, you won't be disappointed. And why are you trying to protect yourself from that? Because you have to try things in life, have to do stuff to move forward. And so disappointment comes, but like John and I said, it won't affect you as badly, in my opinion, if you kind of just use it to strengthen yourself. It's like iron sharpens iron, right? You have to go against the grit. So when those things come your way, in my opinion, is just roll the punches. You just do it, you just move on, you don't dwell on it. But not everybody can handle situations similar to I would handle. I'm not saying I'm not disappointed on some days, there may be matters that I felt like I had in the bag. And then when I realized took some more time to look at it and, you know, do some more research, I realized that, well, maybe this one is not going to work out the way it's going to work out. Or I'm going to, you know, win as big as I thought I would have won, right? There's situations where you probably think you would want to achieve, I don't know, a particular grade or something. I mean, that was never my kind of thing, but I'm just saying that you don't know unless you try. So just do it and just move on. Take your licks and move on. In fact, right before I started practicing, I did an internship at Knight Junior and Samuels with Bert Samuels. I consider him one of my mentors, right? Senior counsel Bert Samuels. And he said, and I'll never forget this quote, he said, the practice of law is like baptism by fire, right? The practice of law is like baptism by fire. You just have to go through it, go through the fire, and you come out, you know, being great on the end. And that's something that stuck with me for years, right? So just don't take it, don't make it lick you down like that. Don't take the things too heavy. Don't take it too personal, whatever it may be. Just move on. So disappointment will come if, you know, you put your expectation, but it doesn't have to affect you in the way that, you know, it may affect other persons.
Wow, definitely love that insight that I'm getting. I suppose this question in particular kind of speaks to me personally, because I went through a very similar experience, right? When I was in second year, sorry, I ran for both deputy chairman for commuters as well as second year representative for law, and I actually lost both posts. Right. So I went through that disappointment, and I'm not gonna lie, I took it hard for a while, but I remember having a conversation with my mentor, and she really said to me that at the end of the day, just stay true to what it is that, you know, you're passionate about and what it is that you want to achieve. And because of that, I applied to be the law representative, because I realized that, well, you know, even though I had wanted to represent on each side that I was interested in a separate capacity, that capacity would have merged the two interests. So I suppose it kind of feeds into what Lito was saying about maybe it just wasn't, you know, destined for you, or that's not what God wanted for you. So I got that post, and it would have propelled me into the post that I now hold. Right. So definitely I can attest to the fact that, you know, disappointments come, but always see it as is not just a win or lose, but it's a win or learn, because losing is never really a loss if you take it the way that you're really supposed to, right? And I think that kind of feeds into the fear, right? I'm sure we can all agree that there's a lot of times when fear is something that holds us back, right, from actually taking certain steps. So I suppose the question that I want to ask to the both of you is, you know, have you guys ever been in a situation where you know the fear of failing, or, you know what I mean, how great a task that's in front of you would have shaken you, right? But you were still able to come through and pull through, and even, you know, facing such disappointments, you know, you're still able to not necessarily get the desired result, but keep on pushing and keep on pressing, and not never giving up.
Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, look at it this way, Justin. Look at it this way. Everything that you feared before now came to pass, right? Like you went through it, would that be an exam? Would that be, I don't know, moving to another country? Would that be applying for a position or a role or something? You feared what would happen when you applied for it, or you tried whatever you did, right? And you lived through it, right? And you bounce back from it if it's injured you in any way, will it be financially or emotionally or whatever it may be, and you move on. So yeah, fear does cripple you, right? And that's why one of my things is just do it, like literally like Nike, just do it. And I think people always say that whenever you feel afraid is when you should actually jump. You get me? I have a lot of friends in tech, and they have a saying. They said sometimes building or achieving something is like jumping off a cliff, and building an airplane on the way down, right? And so eventually you fly. So just get up and do it. Fear does get in the way sometimes, but you're always gonna realize after the fact that, hey, it wasn't that bad.
Thank you. So Mr. Leith, let me pick on you for a second then. Have you ever been in that type of situation where you had to, go through a major disappointment that you had to bounce back from, a learning moment?
Yeah, actually, it would be the same thing that happened to you as it relates to the guild elections. I ran for treasurer the first time in, I think it was 2016. And that first race, I lost that race miserably. When I say miserably, I lost that race miserably. And it just so happened that the treasurer at the time had to resign for some form of complications. And there was a by-election in September. And it was like, I wanted to run, but at the same time, I was like, should I really run and put myself in a position to lose again? I was like, you know what? It never killed me the first time, and it now killed me this time. So like, I was like, you know what? Let me go for it. I thought about what I did throughout the time period because there was this downtime. He resigned in June and the election was in September. We knew there was going to be a by-election. So in that period of time, I was thinking like, what did I do wrong the first election? What can I do better now? And throughout that period of time, I realized, oh, you never had anything catchy or anything that would resonate with people or for persons to remember you. There was nothing that you did at that period of time that would say, all right, I should vote for this person. There was no wow factor. So for about 2 months, I thought about and brainstormed what could be my wow factor. And then I found something that I know everybody could remember. And it's a common Jamaican word, which is do it. What I did was, all right, you know what? Let me see how well I can work with this, which is do it with Leith. So from that moment going on, it was like, do it with Leith will do it, and everybody would remember do it. Like, if somebody asks you a question like, should I do this? You're just like, yeah, man, do it. So it's a case where it was always something that we'll remember. And then the election came up, and it just so happened that I was able to be victorious in that election. So disappointment there for me it was very disappointing, yes, but it was a learning experience because I really took all the negatives there, find out what I did wrong, and spoke to a few persons to say, all right, what could I do better? And what will work? And it worked for me. As it relates to the question that they asked about if there was any period of time where there was something that you were like fearful of doing, stuff like that, that would be more recent when I applied to be a manager at my workplace. Now, in a government agency, you don't have a lot of young managers. Like most government agencies, most managers have like 5 to 10 years experience in whatever position it is and stuff like that. So when I was applying, I was like, what if I don't get this position? Should I apply for something else? Am I really fit for this position? What if I do get the position, then what will I do? Like, will I do a good job? Will I let down the person that give me the position? What will I do next? What's next? That was a very fearful moment for me, a very fearful time. And then what I did was spoke to the senior director for that specific department and realized that it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And then from then on, it was like a learning experience because each day I learned something else. And I used the prior knowledge that I have from various experience, which is in leadership and stuff like that. And that pretty much aided me to be 2 years successful in that position right now.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, Leith, because we're just about to segue into some questions concerning the transition from university into the real world. No, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is something that I've heard on more than one occasion. That as university students, UA students, we kind of fail or don't meet the standard that's required when it comes to how we transition successfully into the working world. Right? I've heard it time and time again that there's so many persons that invest all of their life, their time and effort into UE, and then what next? There is life after UE, right? So can you kind of, well, I know that you're in still in postgrad right now, right? So I suppose this is probably morely for Sean, but you can go ahead as well, lead. What do you think about well, let me tell me first, Sean, about your transition from university into the working world.
Well, first of me, bro, I've been working all my life, right? As far back as I can remember. I mean, the other day, I was doing some business and they asked me for a resume, right? So I said, oh yeah, sure, I'll just give you my stuff from like university and what I do personally. And they said, no, you need to go back to when you from when you were 18. I said, if I put my resume together from when I was 18, my friend, you'd probably end up with probably like a 7 page or 8 page resume because I've been working this whole time, right? So I guess the transition for me wasn't that bad because I've, like I said, as far back as I can remember, ever since I was a teenager, I was always doing some sort of summer internship somewhere. So my background spreads finance, manufacturing, um, what is that, warehousing. I used to work at the tax office at one point as an intern. So up to you when I was in that first batch of what everybody knows now as the JNWay program. So I was one of the ones who helped to like conceptualize the entire program and he come up with the name for it. Um, yeah. So and then the next thing is that when you practice law, you have like a buffer, right? There's a little buffer there where I'm sorry, this thing is very annoying. I was just trying to go right. Uh, there's like a buffer in between because remember you have to go to normal law school and you have to do some internships there that we call in service, and then you come out and go and work, right? So it wasn't that bad for me, but just about your story, uh, where you said people always investing all their time in. I'm sorry, guys. Investing all your time in UE and then coming out and knowing that there's life after UE. Life just goes on. Don't. I don't think you should ever be that guy that, yo, you remember when they scored a bad goal in a fourth form, right? Like, and you're like, you have to be like, bro, you're 35. What are you talking about? Like, yeah, how long ago was fourth form, right? Don't try and always try to evolve. Always try to just move on to the next thing. Don't allow this thing to just be the snapshot of your life or your highlight. There's always more. I mean, if you're in the regular working world, you can work until you what, 65 if you're 65 if you're female, 70 if you're male, right? You have all this life ahead of you. Why you want a bad goal that you scored Manning Cup when you were what 17 to be like the peak of your life? You know what I mean? You just move on, right? So, and even in the working world, I have friends that have changed jobs, whether it be in law or outside law, many times since we've left school, right? I mean, I've changed jobs since. Just life just you don't, how do I put this? You have to decide what defines you, right? You have to decide what defines you, what defines who you are. Never allow that to necessarily be an external decision, meaning that somebody else makes that decision for you, or a particular school or a particular workplace decide who you are. Always be yourself. Always try and stick to. Sorry, guys, I told you the baby was here.
You're muted,
I
Sean.
think you
You're
muted.
muted.
Oh, my bad, my bad. As soon as I muted it, will start again. Yeah, but that's life, guys. So what I'm saying is that Don't allow these things to define you unless you want to be defined as that particular thing. Don't allow external things and people to tell you who you are, right? Just live your life. And so going into the working world, don't unless that's what you want, unless that's what you certainly want. Don't think you're just gonna I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna work at this place for 35 years of my life and then just die or get a pension or whatever it is. Just go and have your objectives. That bringing it back to the beginning of our conversation. Have your objectives, know what you want to do, know where you want to go with this kind of thing, or at least have an idea. And if you're not getting it where you are, then just move to the next thing. Right? Just move to the next thing. Just move on, because life will always bring you back some semblance of balance. So going into the working world for me, guys, was just me saying, here, what? This is what I know I want to do. And I'm going to try it, and I'm going to try it, and I'm going to try it. And if I feel like it's not working out for me, I'm just going to move on to and do another thing. So I can tell you guys one thing. I love the law overall. Law is great. But within my first 3 months of practice, I decided, here's what, no more criminal law for me. Right? And that's funny because I was called to the bar by Tom Tavares Vincent, and I was roped by Christopher Townsend, which is probably two of the biggest names in criminal practice right now. But I just knew that my skills that I possessed and the knowledge, the things that come to me easily, and I could easily remember it and easily apply it or interpret situations, was more directed to civil practice. And so I just kind of stuck to that lane, I guess. And trust me, it's been one of the best decisions I've made of my life. It's far less stressful. I'm not saying there's no stress, but it's far less stressful. And because I actually love the areas in which I practice. And so, yeah.
Just to add another question, Mr. Kessel, you said that your mentor spoke of law being as a baptism in burning fire, right? I know that law, as in itself, practicing law is a very competitive arena, both in school and outside of school. But I want to know, what do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions that law students have of the real world of work practicing law?
Oh, that it's saturated. That's a lie. that's a lie. It's not saturated, man. Depends on how you look at it. Half empty or half full. There's something out there for everybody. There's a lane out there for everybody. Like when you get to law school, you're gonna hear. Well, I don't know if everybody here is a lawyer, so let me not bore you guys with that part. But what I will say is that there are people out there that have one client and they're doing way better than people that have 30. Right? There are people out there that have 2 clients who are doing way better than people who have 200. Right? So that's one big misconception. And let me just keep it short to that. That the area is saturated. There's something for everybody. Everybody. It depends how much money you want to make, depends how much work you want to do, it probably depends how popular you want to be and those kind of things. But don't believe that, this field is saturated. Nope. I mean, people always use the example like to bread. How many brands of bread you see out there? I'm pretty sure the other day one of those food companies just started a brand to compete with another one. So like Cal's. I know the owner of Cal's very well. From him, they sell bag juice. A lot of people don't even know that brand started with bag juice. Right? I think he's gonna have his story up somewhere eventually. But that man, imagine if he thought Grace already have mackerel and Lasca already has mackerel, and what are the other Lasca brands from Geddes or something like that? Exactly. Who knew it would stand up to Grace? Like that man was selling bag juice and I was a little youth. You get me? And look where he is now. So if he believed that his market was saturated, would Cal's be the brand that you know it as now? No. So there's always room, my friends. And if you're good at what you do, you will find your space. And sometimes it will come to you and you don't even know it. It will come to you and you don't even know it. I mean, look at me. The other day, like I said, I cut out criminal practice, right? And I love real estate and I love architecture. Like I said, the creative side of things. And now I'm doing work for developers, right? I don't know if it has nothing to do with my last name being a building, but you guys probably would have seen me on like NHT stuff and stuff like that, where I just do a lot of real estate right now. People want to buy houses and sell houses and build buildings and all these kind of things, and I'm who they call. And I also love music, and many of my clients are artists and producers and artist managers, and some of them just respect me because they realize I can speak how they speak, in terms of I understand their craft to an extent where I can apply my knowledge to assist them in what they're doing. You get me? And so right now my practice is business people, real estate, creatives for the most part. Right? And see how life is funny like that. All I did was just talk about the things that I love and the things that and be interested in the things that I'm interested in. I mean, I do practice in other areas, right? But that's mainly what I do. I advise companies day in, day out, whether it be small to large. You get me? I mean, the other day I was on Clubhouse, and it was myself and several producers, and they were like, yo, probably one of the coolest lawyer I've ever talked to, because it's like every time they talk to somebody, it's like they don't get what they're saying or what they want to achieve, or they just don't understand how the craft is supposed to be treated or how they want to market the thing. And I just shared my ideas. And then, eventually you start getting some phone calls. And then before that, now I will say, and I think this is one of your questions that you're going to have, is that when it came to building a network of people, I literally just did what I felt like. I'm not saying that's for everybody, but I always just stayed true to myself. And so I grew up with a lot of persons came up with a lot of persons who now are managers in businesses or execs somewhere or have their own businesses, or they became producers or they became artist managers or event managers, and they're now my clients. You get me? And it's not run them down. So yeah, biggest misconception. I took about 5 minutes to say that, but don't believe that the place is saturated, my friends.
No, man, that's fine. I'm sure that our law students would have appreciated that in-depth answer, right? So I suppose I want to pose this question to Mr. Lee. We definitely acknowledge that, that transition from, university to the working world is very important. And it's also, there's something crucial about it that Sean also hinted at in terms of your network, because they tell you that your network equals to your net worth, right? And I suppose it's very important that we tackle the issue of branding. So from your perspective, how would you say that one creates their own personal or professional brand?
From my perspective, what you have to do is synonymous to what Sean Chris said, which was pretty much do as you feel, stay true to you. Your brand has to be you, because if you put on a facade, one day you will get tired, to be completely honest. So you have to be true to you. Your brand have to be you. And what you have to do to find out what exactly is your brand is to pretty much try as much things as you can while you're young. So in the development stage, what you have to do is to go out there and try different things. So for example, even though you are a law student, for example, you can join UMA and see if marketing is a thing that you want to take part in, if this is something that is passionate to you. So you could be an entertainment lawyer, a lawyer that does things in entertainment. Look at Sean Chris, for example. When he spoke about the things that he had done while being on UA, he did things like events planning, created Open Air, which is one of those big concerts that law has up to this day and things like that. But he is ultimately a lawyer. So his area is not just in law. His brand is somebody who anybody in the entertainment industry can relate to as a lawyer. So he would be one of those lawyers who, who can I talk to who will best understand what I'm saying as relates to producing contracts to artists, stuff like that. Oh, Sean Chris, he is the best person. So they would go to him. That would be his niche. That would be where he develops his brand. His brand would be that go-to person. So what you have to do is find out what fits you, what suits you, and develop around that. So for example, you are a person who likes student advocacy and stuff like that, but you also do well with speaking, hosting, and stuff of that nature. So as a lawyer, you could even still be a person who persons called to host events and stuff like that. So it could be not even in your profession, but your brand could be something that's just you. That super lawyer who pretty much, if you're into something as extreme as like bike riding, I don't know if any Jamaicans really ride bike and stuff like that. But if you're a lawyer that's into something like that and it's something that is fun to you, that's something that you can take on. For example, what if you're a person who good with crunching numbers, but you still have a passion for law? So you're doing law right now. People in the corporate world need persons like you, same way, who can are multifaceted. So for example, I have you as a lawyer, but at the same time, if I have some accounts that I need to go over, I can give you quick to just run through for me, and you would be that go-to person. I would then now advise my friends, oh, if you have any like numbers and stuff like that to go through, my lawyer can assist you with that, and then that would pretty much help you to expand yourself, not just as a lawyer, but as something more. And building a network, it's just as Sean said, yeah, you have to be yourself, because as cliche as it sounds, a lot of persons can see through persons who are being fake, because over a period of time, you will not be consistent. So if you put on this nice fancy face now, like in a few years, you might not be that same person, and persons will take notice of that. So you have to be you, and being you, the persons who will gravitate to you will be just as real as you are, and those persons will be the people of tomorrow. So just as with Sean, his friends know, and the person that he have met throughout his university days, they are now managers and some top corporate persons. He now have those connections, and what you have to do is not limit yourself to Jamaica either. You have to expand yourself to even across the region. Perfect example is Travis, who passed the bar here in Jamaica a few months ago, and then went to Guyana and passed the bar there in Guyana as well. What happened was, on Hall, which is Towers, he garnered a friend who was this kind of well-known person in Guyana. He then developed a love for the country of Guyana and said, why not expand myself to Guyana? And that was now the result, him being a person who has passed the bar in Guyana. So it's something where you have to be true to yourself, and you are your brand. And for you to be a brand, you have to start from early, figure out what's your passion, what's your niche, and then develop on what exactly you see yourself as being good at. And even if you have a few weak points, you can develop on those as well. But your brand, what you have to do is to pretty much take advantage of your talents. When growing up, what did you do? What was something that no matter what, it was like clockwork for you? If it was crunching numbers, boom, clockwork. That's something that you can then take advantage of, and you can use that to help yourself to develop a brand.
Yeah, Travis. Travis, sorry, General. I just want to add to that for a second, if I may. Right? A part of my practice is debt collection. Right? I represent microfinance entities. So those are like entities that lend people money if people don't know, right? One of the clients when I was at my previous firm, they had a hot, or still do have a hot money lending business, but they ended up having a lot of people owing them. That person's, the way they lend money is so complex that the other lawyers in the firm just couldn't understand it, right? And if it wasn't for the bit of accounting in my background, I wouldn't have been able to pretty much create a template for how those matters for that particular business are done now. And as the youngest person at the firm at the time, that little piece of knowledge that I had to use to make that template for the drafting so he could sue people and get his money back. I wouldn't have been able to do it. And all I did was just apply those skills, and see how life is funny like that. That's something that I learned from family members and from the internships that had nothing to do with law when I was coming up. You get me? And one more thing I want to add is, since you're on the point of branding, because I don't want people to feel as if once they're one thing, they have to stick to that thing. Never be afraid to pivot. You can change, you can rebrand yourself at any point in life. Any point in life, you can decide you want to do something else. But just know that that comes with repercussions as well.
All right, thank you so much for that insight, Sean. So I love the fact that we're on branding right now, because it's a great segue into speaking about social media. And I think it's fitting because we have two social media influencers as our panelists tonight, right? Well, in my opinion, because I'm sure Twitter is very active for you guys. Huh?
He's talking about Jana and Miss Morgan.
Oh, well, I'm sure for one that Mr. Lee definitely has a very active Twitter page, right? But let me just ask one question here. Do you guys think it's vital to like separate your personal life from your professional life on your social media pages? And also very important, do you think that your social media posts really impact the decisions of like employers when they're looking to when they're looking to hire?
My friends, you decide what you post on social media. Seriously, you decide what you post. So for me, I don't really separate personal from. This is me. This is my brand. This is what I do, and so I don't post every aspect of my life on social media. I decide what I post, right? I'm a lawyer. I go to parties. I have parties. I go to the river, go to country. I travel around the world. You get me? So I personally, I've never understood why people want to have two separate pages. Personally, I can't manage all that, right? Like I barely manage my own social media in terms of personally, but for clients, it's a different thing, and that is why I have problems at times posting on my own social media, coding stuff for clients, right? But I don't see why you should have two separate pages, especially in this day and age. Everybody knows where you are and everybody knows where to find you. So why try to be fake? I can tell you guys, I don't even have a close friends thing on Instagram. To be honest, I just post what I feel like whenever I feel like, and this is me. I think trying to differentiate all that is somewhat trying to be fake, because it's gonna, if the information really should come out, it's going to come out. You get me? If you're trying to post something to your close friends and you really don't want it to come out, then don't post it, because you can get a screenshot. You get me? And it can spread from there, and you will probably never know, unless you only have two people on your close friends. You get me? You'll never know who it is. So why try and separate those two things? Just know that whatever you do has its reactions to it. So I'm not saying you should be able to wild out on your IG if you're running for, I don't know, you want to be something in politics or something like that. I'm not saying you should wild out, but you should know what to post and when to post it. And yes, employers do look at that. I mean, we've seen on social media, on Twitter and on Instagram, how, well, more particularly Twitter, how that has affected some persons. I think some persons lost their jobs because they posted certain things. But yeah, employers do look at it. I mean, for me, for the most part, I'll be employing people. I employ people in other aspects, but in my legal practice, we'll be doing some employment soon. I mean, once you can do your work, for me, I don't really care what you want to do in your personal life, as so long as it does not affect the practice or affect the brand of the practice and that kind of thing. You can do whatever you want to do in your life, right? So why should you jump in a carnival affect, what you do in the courtroom? I don't see it, but that's my opinion, maybe too loose on these things. But I don't really post all that wild stuff anyway. So yeah.
Pretty much
He's
it's the
still
same.
muting, Mr. Leaf. Okay, go ahead.
So pretty much it's the same for me because I believe you are one person. And you can't be two persons. And if you try to have multiple social media, so for example, if you have two Twitters, it's pretty much you trying to be two persons. Because if you want to post one thing on one and then something on the other, then it's kind of you having split personalities, and that in itself is somewhat of a mental illness. So for me, you have to focus. You have to pretty much have one page, but you have to be responsible. So for example, you can't be posting things that are outright illegal. If you know what I mean. Like the curfew, you have the curfew, and you as a citizen out there, you're running for something in office and something like that, and you're out after curfew hours like 10 o'clock posting a live saying, oh, you're not going inside and F this, F that, and being at a party and posting that party and not practicing what the proper procedures during the fact that we're now in a pandemic. That in itself is irresponsible. And for you to post things like that, then really that's you being irresponsible. But you can't separate yourself as it relates to professional and social because it's one person. And either way, to me, it's going to pretty much find a meeting point or mesh in some kind of way. Because for my social media, especially on Twitter, because I mostly use Twitter more than any other social media, on my Twitter, I will be joking around, posting some pictures, stuff like that. And then another point, you'd see me speaking about like politics and stuff like that. But what I get to realize is if I was to split both of those, and you can even see it from how persons interact with your content. If you were to split both of those, one would get more, I'd say, traction than the other. But if you have it on one page, even if persons don't interact with it because they are following you for whatever reason. So for example, they're following you because you post a picture and you look good. So they're following you because you look good. But you post something that was educational about politics. They might not interact with that, but they were able to see what you're saying. And then they might get a different perspective of you. It's something that might or might not happen per se, but it is a case. But if you have two pages that split, one where you show yourself and show a nice look, and then other one that you post educational stuff, the person that's on your thing for how you look might not see that you are a person who knows about the books, a person who does law. So for example, if you're a person who do law, for example, but you love to party, and you have one page where you pretty much just post you going to parties, advertising parties and stuff like that. And then on the other page, you pretty much just stick to the law things. It's kind of weird in the sense where you won't have the same set of followers. And if you have the same set of followers, why then have two pages? If you know what I mean. If you have the same people, why have two pages? And it's the same as what Sean said. It's kind of hard to manage one page, especially given that you have so many different platforms. It's kind of hard to manage one page for yourself. Imagine having two for various platforms.
Bro, people act as if you can't be a multifaceted person.
Right.
They act as if like, oh, you're a doctor, so all I must do is post about doctor stuff. I'm posting your doctor clothes. I never drink a bottle of rum, not a bottle, sorry. I have a drink. I never go a party. You understand? They act as if, oh, if you're a policeman, you should never be seen at an event enjoying yourself.
Yeah, like you're not a person.
Yeah, as if you're not a person. They act as if you're a lawyer, you must always just post that you're in your office doing law work and oh, I'm saving the world. as if you can't post your family, you can't post your friends out with your friends, you hear me? Or even if you're a woman who is an attorney, so not even only from the male perspective, but even from the female perspective, they're acting like you can't be in your bib and your gown today in court, mashing up the place, and then on the weekend because you were so stressed out, you're gone to a hotel for the weekend, you're posting in your two-piece bikini. They act as if you shouldn't be able to do that. You get me? Live your life. Not, I'm saying again, do what is comfortable for you. But I don't think it necessitates having such a like completely separate pages. I don't think that make any sense. So I think that was chat for time.
Okay, if I if I might just kind of key in
I love
there.
that you guys.
Oh, can you hear me? Yeah, so I was just saying that I guess I can agree with you, Sean, concerning that. But I think it's not just where we're comfortable, but also knowing where to set the balance or strike the balance, which is what we should always seek. Across the board to strike a balance between the different areas of our lives. Because look at even Miss Kitty, right? I think it was the most amazing thing to a lot of persons when they saw that she went through law school and she's not just faculty of law, but she also went to Norman Man. She got called to the bar. Now she's a full-fledged attorney, and many persons would have known that Miss Kitty is a good proper person. Not just a media influence and that kind of thing, but now they have seen her in a new light. And also you see where she doesn't lose the essence of her personality just because of her professional life. She merges the two gracefully, so you know that she's, yes, Miss Kitty, the la 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 and all of that stuff, but at the same time she's a full-fledged lawyer, and so many more things that she's seeking to achieve. So I think it's just that case where we have to be able to strike that balance and know that, okay, what I mean, you can live your life and have fun, but at the same time being cognizant of the professional capacity that you sit in, and just striking that balance, right? Anyways, but yeah, we are a little bit pressed for time, so I think Kianja has one final question for our panelists before we kind of wrap up. But guys, kind of stay tuned because we have some credit giveaways, so definitely want to stick around for that. So Kianja.
I feel like it touched on so many things. What I was really going to ask was in relation to clubs and societies that you think that students could join in terms of networking. But before you answer that question, I just really wanted to add to the conversation that you guys just had in saying that what I've seen so far is when I was in high school, younger days, Instagram is coming up, social media is coming up and so forth. Right? I realized that social media is just really a place where you can go, you can meet new people, you can share your experiences. But really coming into university life, I've realized that a lot of my peers, they really work on building their brand when it comes to Instagram. They work on ensuring that persons know that they're getting this done and they're doing this and such and such. But when I move them in a separate setting, it's a completely different person. I know that you guys touch on them being hypocritical, but I can get at the same time why they want to create this particular image. I agree that you have to find some sort of balance. Just yesterday I was in a seminar with UWIS that Mona CARICOM. It was we had a speaker, his name was Gerard. He's from LinkedIn. He was saying that people should really Google themselves. Because if you're applying for a job, if you're applying for an internship and so forth, there's like a 9 or 10% chance that someone's going to Google you to see that who you are. And I took that and I went and I Googled myself. And if you Google me, you will not get any type of idea of who I am as a person, right? So that really touched me in a way. I really agree with the balance argument. I feel like, however, though, that Instagram should be a separate place where you can express yourself and share your life experiences both in and outside of school and the working world, versus when you have platforms like LinkedIn where you can share your accomplishments, you can business professionals, companies can see you and they can learn more about you in a professional setting. But yeah, I see what you guys are touching on. What I wanted to ask, however, though, is about the clubs and societies that you think students going to the working world can join in order to better their network systems.
I mean, I've been out of the university circle for a time now. But I can tell you guys one thing that may have come as a surprise. Maybe not. I was a member of UMA before I was a member of the Mona Law Society. when I was in the faculty of law, I was at UMA first in my entire first year, and through second year I was active in UMA. and then the UMA was hot, like, so, and that's when it made the transition to be a bigger club to what you guys probably know it as today, right? I say join anything that interests you. You want to learn about something, just go and join it, and or if you want to hone your skills in a particular area, just go and join. If I could have joined more clubs when I was at UA, I would have. Yeah.
And I
But
pretty much,
Monolaw Society, guys, definitely take part in the Monolaw Society. Definitely.
and I would echo the same sentiments as it relates to pretty much joining a club that interests you. For example, UMA, as I mentioned earlier, is a big club. It's a club that most persons on campus join. Even up to today, is a big club. It's a very, very big club. Careers Club is a club that you can join as well because they linked directly to Careers and Placement, who pretty much do various things as it relates to getting internships, getting starter jobs, posting jobs and various employments, doing mock interviews and stuff like that. So persons who are in Career Club are the persons who get the first-hand information before the wider university. So if you want the opportunity to pretty much get those kind of experiences, you could join Career Club. Any club, like for example, if you're here, I don't know if econ students are here, you have a club strictly for economics. You have banking league for persons who do banking and finance, but it's not solely for persons who do banking and finance because persons who do law can join that club as well. But any club that interests you, if there's any area that interests you, not just what you solely do in school, I would say join that club because building yourself, building your brand, and making yourself a more rounded person is pretty much one of the main reasons why you're here at the university. So join any club because all of them has some kind of benefit. But just remember, whatever decision you make, there are some consequences. So just think about that as well.
All right, great, wise words coming from our panelists. Definitely, guys, I share the sentiments about the Mona Law Society. But overall, any leadership post or any club or society that you're interested in, I've seen governance society, I've seen debating society, even the mooting club over MLS. I'm telling you, they've been going on with a bag of things, right? So wherever your passions lie, just pursue them as much as possible. So we've definitely had an amazing time with our panelists, and also Miss Morgan that gave that presentation in the beginning. So I hope you guys have been listening and tuning in because we have a digital and a credit giveaway. Sorry, digital and flow credit giveaway for two lucky persons. We're gonna be asking just two questions. Hoping that our persons from YouTube have been paying attention because you guys can also win. So you can just type your answer in the chat, especially those on Zoom as well, right? So I'm going to be asking a question from the presentation that Miss Morgan gave, right? And this question, all right, so the question is, all right, she would have in her presentation recommended a certain scheme or an investment scheme that is more beneficial to persons because of no, I don't want to say that because it's gonna give away the answer. But she recommended one specific scheme that was more beneficial to most persons because the interest is not tiered depending on who or who invests in it. So if you can tell me, type in the chat, whether on YouTube or on Zoom, what investment scheme that is that she would have recommended, that is it the most beneficial to people generally, because the percentage return is the same no matter who it is that invests in it. Then you will win whether it's the digital or flow. So come on, guys, don't be shy. You can send your answers. No one knows. Kendra, did I ask a hard question? I'm feeling a bit conscious now.
No, I didn't ask a hard question. What I can do, no man, what I can do though is give you guys a hint. of what it starts with. How about that? It starts with you.
There we go. So we have our winner as Nevoni Piddock. It's the unit trust, right? So the unit trust, it's more of a pool, right? Where persons they pool their money together, and this is where businesses would kind of, when they take money to aid with their operations on the money market, they would take from that, and based on the returns, it filters down. So Nevoni is our first winner. I'm gonna let Kiandra ask the next question because I feel like I'm asking her some hard questions. But I feel like this one is gonna be more from our panel discussion. So I'm hoping that more persons will try to win this one. So Kiandra, your question.
All right. So this is a two-part question. The first question is, which area of law did Mr. Sean Christopher Castle say that he was currently venturing in? And for Mr. Leith, what is the job description of Mr. Genoa Leith? All right, I'll give you guys an easy pass. What you can do is you can go on Instagram and look at Mr. Leith's Instagram bio, and the first person that sees what is listed there can give the answer. And as for Mr. Christopher Castle, if you were listening keenly, you will know the area of law that he said that he ventured from and to. So if you can tell me which one he started out in first, then you can get the credits. But if you can't tell me which one he started in first, you can tell me which one he ventured off into. It's two parts.
All right, so we have
Miss
one
Paul,
comment. We have a comment in the chat that is not going to be accepted. The person knows themselves, so we're just going to move on. Anyone else wants to try? Come on, nobody from YouTube wants free credit. I'm seeing about 6 or 7 persons on right now. No one wants some free credit. Wow, I suppose. I'm guessing maybe they're shy or something.
All right, another question then, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose you can go with another question.
All right. What are 4 important things you need to start an investment account? This is what Ms. Shelly-Ann Morgan have listed out earlier. Simple stuff.
No, man. I don't feel like we should ask any more questions from her presentation, because I feel like most persons that we still have here weren't there when we started.
Oh, for real. All right. So continuing with Mr. Leith. What's Mr. Leith's current job position? And what area of law did Mr. Castle venture off into? No, Mr. Sterling. That's not the answer from Miss Morgan.
Guys, if you want a hint, it's on the flyer, Mr. Leith, he's great. We have someone from YouTube. He started in criminal and now he's in civil. Love that. Thank you, Nicole. So Nicole, what I'll ask you to do is to go to the UE commuters, the commuters law committee Instagram page. I'm gonna be putting it in the chat and DM them there so that you can get your credit. But we also have Tina T Forever getting the answer right for Mr. Leith, policy and regulation manager. Right, so that looks like we have 3 winners tonight. So thank you guys so much for participating. You'll definitely be receiving your credit. So I'm gonna be posting it in the YouTube right now. So just go to this address for Instagram. So it's at UEMONA LCC, Law Commuters Committee. Just send them a DM and you'll be able to get your credit. So the time is far spent, but boy, Kiandra, I'm telling you, this was a really informative and engaging session, starting from Miss Morgan with speaking about investment, and then getting into the panel discussion with Mr. Leith and Mr. Sean. Definitely, you have any words to say to our panelists who are still here with us, before they leave?
Oh, I really want to thank you guys for coming. I feel like I've learned so much about personal branding, about setting my goals, and about venturing into the working world. You guys gave us some great tips. You guys spoke on so many topics that I believe that everybody who's here has benefited from, both on the Zoom platform and the YouTube platform. And I just really want you guys to know that we are so grateful for having you. And if in the event that we contact you in the future, please do make yourselves available because you guys are really great speakers, Mr. Leith and Mr. Castle. So just thank you so much for coming. Again, so much from your presentations, and I can't wait to see the achievements that you make in the future. I'll be following your Instagram pages. I already am, so I'm looking forward to seeing your achievements. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay, great. Thank you for that, Kian. I also share those sentiments. A big shout out to Mr. Leith and Mr. Sean for being here with us. It was a great panel discussion. I'm sure they would have learned a lot. So let me just repeat there for Tina T Forever. You can collect the credit. You have to DM, go to Instagram and search at UWI-MONA LCC. That's at UWI-MONA LCC. You can also see it in the comment section of the YouTube. Just DM them and you'll be able to receive your credit. Also, Nevoni, you should be fine because you have some contact for one and two of the organizers, right? So it's about 8:26 now. Thank you guys so much to everyone that came out and supported, everyone that stayed from start to finish. Let me see who I have here in the participants. So Mr. Davian Sterling, EAC for the commuters committee. I'm seeing Kay Parkins. Is this Khadija Parkins? I'm hoping it is. Khadija, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I feel like it's her. Nevoni, our speakers again, and also to my lovely co-host, Miss Keandra Wellington. It was amazing sharing the stage with you. And everyone that's on YouTube, we had a good amount of views and stuff. So thank you guys for coming out and sharing the link with everyone. Yes, Tina, it was definitely a great program. And also a final shout out to Miss Janelle Powell, who is the law commuters representative, right? So
one more thing. You can also follow Mr. Leith at General Leith JA, and you can also follow Mr. Sean Christopher Castle on Instagram as Sean Chris Castle. So give them a follow.
All right, great. So even for my persons that are on YouTube right now, guys, do not just, enjoy the session and leave. Please subscribe, because I'm telling you, the CSO, the Committing Students Office's YouTube is where we've been hosting a lot of our Zoom sessions and going live stream. So you can find everything you can think of. If you're a second year, STEP sessions are on the YouTube. If you're a finalizing student, there's things there for you. Change Makers Club, everything you can think about, even the speed dating event, right, that created so much of a buzz is also there, guys. So everything that we've been doing as a committee, you can find there with some great videos, I'm telling you. So you definitely want to subscribe before you leave. So without any further ado, I'm just gonna play some music, right? Till about 8:30, and then I'll be closing off. So thanks again, guys. My name is Justin Edwards. I'm the Committing Student Representative and one of your hosts for tonight. And it was definitely a pleasure being here. Bring up the commuters committee, the law committee, every subcommittee, our panelists once more, and all the participants. All right.
All right, thanks for having me, guys. You take care and really great event.
And all the participants, all right?
You better not be living at the ghetto, be under the pressure. Do it every day. You better not be living at the ghetto, be under the pressure. Frankie music. Show till I keep every big song them and repeat. Them a respond in them feet. Them a clap hands in them teeth. Make them heart attack in my altar back. And no style we have them can't answer that. Me start to track and them start attack. So what am I gonna do right after that? Me understand lyrics no really time. Like in the nose. Touch down like quarter back for my count up the money. Give me half of that. Me coulda do it for the hyper rather. If you try to rhyme on beat, lay down like white life on street. Music sweet I just like one treat. Drop it hotter than island heat. Yeah me with the island floor. It coulda be digital I don't know. Hear some people say I don't grow. Tell them when on for time go show. Kick it like a Balotelli. You tell me love it up on a telly. Give me the word and me I go shelly. That I'm a dream with the sun and Ellie. Give me the rhythm and chop it a chop. When we finish it a drop. No some of us up on that. But when I sit on a black and a top. I do reggae music. Cause in the motion. Could I did music. I like a potion. Music sweet just like one treat. Drop it hotter than island heat. Get me up the way I go back up in the ocean. Cafe up beside them. That I know ocean. Give me the word of me. I know everybody got the keys, but me have to click the Caesar. If Caesar was a Caesar, give the youth them a Caesar. What I go on to Jamaica, Parliament on the paper.